What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track, back with another video, coming off a great weekend. One bet is all I ended up placing. It was the bet of the year. It was AJ Allmendinger to get a top 10 at Sonoma. It was a lock. You could get it at minus 180. It went down to minus 150. I saw some places, some people saying it had plus money. AJ Allmendinger, top 10, ended up finishing sixth. I didn't place the top five because I wasn't confident in the top five. I was super confident in the top 10. It hit. It was a 3.5 unit hit for me. Or three and a half unit bet for me, plus 3 units. So huge weekend for me. And I hope you guys ended up placing that. Again, for the final card, Johnny on the track on Action Network at JOTT_podcast on X is where you can find that final betting card from me. And the rules say, and shout out some of the guys on Twitter and X saying this, but the rules say if you hit a bet of the year, that gives you another opportunity to throw out another bet of the year. We're not going to do that this weekend. That is for sure. Perhaps it could be coming the weekend after New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where I will be. So hopefully going to get some great content from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, bringing 3 friends of mine that have never been to a NASCAR race before. So super excited to take them there. I just cannot wait to get back to a NASCAR race, to get back to New Hampshire and Loudon. So a lot of fun stuff coming up. And then I've got the Brickyard 400 in July, going to that as well with another buddy of mine. So a lot of fun stuff on the horizon. We got NBC now broadcasting these races. So I think that will elevate the whole production. Not to say that I didn't enjoy the Fox booth. I thought they were pretty good, but in terms of the actual production, camera crews, all that stuff, it hasn't been it with Fox, if you will. So little off track there, but again, bet of the year hit. That is all that matters. And now we have a new track, night race. I think it starts at 7, is about when green flag will drop, Eastern time, that is. Or is that? Yeah, Eastern time, 7 Eastern time. Yeah. Iowa Speedway, NBC, their first race of the year. They get a night race. I cannot wait. I think this is going to be a great atmosphere, a great venue. I think the crowd's going to be electric. The racing, I'll get into that when I start talking a little bets. But I think the racing could be interesting, to say the least. But right before we do that, let's shout out the partnership with the NASCAR Betting Preview Show. It's how you could possibly be listening to the podcast version rather of this show, NASCAR Betting Preview Show. However you listen to your podcasts, whether it's on Spotify, on the podcast app, NASCAR Betting Preview Show in that search bar. Hit the follow button and you can be locked in with some of the best bettors in the motorsports community. Cup, trucks, Xfinity, you name it, we've got it. NASCAR Betting Preview Show. And then the live show, that you've got the podcast feed. The live show goes live on X, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesdays on X, on Twitter, whatever you call on that platform nowadays. So there we go. That is the partnership. Now we can talk some bets. Iowa Speedway. So let's talk a little bit about Iowa Speedway. It was on the schedule, both Xfinity and trucks, up until 2019. A lot of guys in the Cup Series now have won in trucks, have won in Xfinity at this racetrack. We'll get into some of those names. But more importantly, now being back, on the schedule, they just did a repave. They did a tire test a few months back, maybe a little bit longer than that, but they did a repave as well. And normally when you think repave, you might think, oh, they probably repaved the whole track. They did not. They repaved one groove, one lane, and it was the bottom lane. So what does that mean? Well, for us, it means it's going to be tough to pass. It's going to be a strategy race. Crew chiefs are going to play a pivotal role. Two tires, four tires, no tires, all of that stuff is going to be important for us. Now it is a night race. Maybe temperatures can affect some of this. Some of the lanes, right? Maybe I'm not sure. I would probably lean towards it's going to be like Gateway. Not a lot of passing. Um, what else? What else should I throw out there before we really get into this? Same tire as North Wilkesboro, not the option tire, but that same hard tire is the main one they'll be going with. So Joey Logano obviously was very good there. You saw at North Wilkesboro how hard it was to pass and get around somebody. I think restarts are another area where you've got to be aggressive on the restart to get track position. It's going to be a track position race and a strategy race. So that is how I see this race playing out. With that, I am going to get into some bets. So, like I said, there was a tire test. Three names to mention in said tire test: Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Brad Keselowski. All three of those names, not much value. Larson at plus 550. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Christopher Bell plus 380. My goodness, no value at all for Christopher Bell. And Brad Keselowski, probably the best value, plus 1,200, but still, I would like to see that number around 15 to 1. But I do think Brad is a good bet to place. I think if you're feeling Larson, might as well. But it's 5.5 to 1, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's nothing that's gonna knock your socks off. And of course, that Bell bet is, I mean, plus 380 to win. My goodness. But Bell was the best and fastest car at Gateway. I know he didn't win, but he deserved to win, quite frankly. So Christopher Bell is that dude and will be that dude, in my opinion. I just don't like the value, quite frankly. So I'm going to try to find some stuff elsewhere on the board. Joey Logano, I think, is a guy that you have to target with how good he was at North Wilkesboro. He is right around 8.5, 9 to 1. As good as he was in North Wilkesboro, right? We saw that. We saw his speed at Gateway and Penske's speed at Gateway, his speed overall this year on short flats, but also probably the most important thing. When there's a new track, when there's a new venue, the guy that gets up the most for it is Joey Logano. He's a fast learner. He adjusts quickly to the situation. He knows like what it means to be at a new track. And you just always see him rise to the occasion. I like Logano here in this spot to get a top 5, a top 3, and possibly a win. I think you can pound the board with Logano bets. Another guy I really like this weekend is Chase Briscoe. He has mentioned that this is his favorite track. He loves this track. He's an Xfinity Series winner here. I know he hasn't been great at short flats, quite frankly, this year, but I just feel like with a guy who needs to win as much as he does to prove it to himself and the team that they still have it. Obviously, with all that's going on with Stewart-Haas Racing, he's right now out of a job, or I guess he's employed, but he will be out of a job pretty soon. So he still needs to find speed, impress, and make sure that he can get a job for next year. I think he will, but just also with Stewart-Haas Racing closing operations, how cool would it be to go out with a win and make the playoffs in their final year? That is the protege, if you will, of Tony Stewart. I think in this spot, Chase Briscoe is going to be one of those guys that just somehow find speed. And a lot of it, I think, is going to have to do with the history at this track. A couple other names that I want to mention. Stenhouse, I think, is a really good guy to, spread the board with maybe a top 10, maybe a top Chevrolet. He's a 3-time Xfinity Series winner here, won 3 in a row. It seems like with kind of like the Almirola, whenever he got to New Hampshire, he just found a way to be fast and good at this track. That was Stenhouse here in the Xfinity Series. I think there's absolutely value on a top 10 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The number for him right now, plus 1,100, 11 to 1. So great value there. And then top Chevrolet, I think, is another one you can look at. I mean, that would be obviously a huge hit, but I think it's something that you can definitely look at. Priest is an interesting top 10 here. Ryan Priest, 5.5 to 1 for a top 10. Another guy that's won here has a pretty darn good resume here. Now, albeit he wasn't a Joe Gibbs racing car, uh, but the only times that Priest has shown any flash in the Cup Series at super speedways and short flats. This is a short flat. This is one that he's been good at. He has a win here. I think there's value on 5.5 to 1 for a top 10 for Ryan Priest. Maybe another, again, a top Ford. I think that's another. The Fords will be interesting. Not many powerful, strong Fords. Besides, in my opinion, Buescher or Keselowski and Buescher in that order, as well as Logano up there. I think those guys, like, they're going to be good. But again, you look at like Harrison Burton, those kind of Fords, Justin Haley. I think Priest, has a decent shot to get up there and be a top Ford. And then Eric Jones, another just a machine here in Xfinity and trucks. He's got 2 wins in Xfinity, right? 2 wins in Xfinity here. Or is it just one? Okay, 1 in Xfinity, 2 in truck. So Eric Jones has had success on this track. I think that continues. His top 10 number, 6 to 1. So I think there's going to be a lot of value here. It's going to come down to, do you know this track? How do you feel this track out? And again, strategy. Like the Gateway race was so interesting with people staying out, taking two. I think this is going to be one of those races. So you can have something crazy like a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. stay out on 2 tires on a track that he knows well and be a fifth place car. I absolutely can see that happening. I think there's probably the most value on this board is in those top Ford, top Chevrolet, as well as top 10. That's the market that I feel like the value is on rather. But if I'm looking for winners, I'm going to look for Brad Keselowski. I'm going to look for Joey Logano. Man, I know Bell is going to be great. So I'm just hoping that if it moves to 5 to 1, I say we take it. But I can't bet a winner at plus 380. I just can't do it. I cannot do it. So those are my two favorite bets, though, I will say, is Keselowski and Logano. Maybe an RFK winning team, because I think Buescher's going to be good here as well. We've seen him knocking on the door. But that's how I see this race playing out. Again, most of the value on the top tens and top or props rather. So I'll name the guys one more time that I really like: Logano, Keselowski, Bell. If that number gets to 5 to 1, Chase Briscoe. And then some top 10 and some big value on guys like Stenhouse, Priest, and Eric Jones. That is I wouldn't say the card, but how I'm feeling out this race at the moment. The final card, Johnny on the Track on Action Network at JOTT_podcast on X. That'll be where the final betting card goes. What do you expect from Iowa? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. Give this video a like. Goes a long way for the channel, and hit that subscribe button to listen to more motorsports content, motorsports betting. One more week till New Hampshire, where I will be making more motorsports content that I will share on this channel. So hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and let's win some money.